So right now what we're going to talk about is the old queen excluder. Some people call them honey excluders. That's what it looks like. It allows the bees to come up, but the queen is not able to. This is a perfect example of where I like to use them. Now, I don't use them until the super is drawn out, or mostly drawn out. Then I'll add them to prevent her from laying. Now, she may have laid in there before, but then I put the excluder on, the brood will hatch, and then they'll backfill it with nectar, and that's fine with me. I'm not doing any cut comb except for over here. So that's fine with me. I don't care about that. But what I did here, these are 3 full deeps, and one was full of nectar, one was full of brood. I try to add the second box, this one right here, and put the nectar between it to use as a honey barrier, because they say a queen will not cross a honey barrier. Well, that wasn't true. I opened the top box last time and it was full of brood. So today what I'm gonna do is try to find the queen, stick her to the bottom box, make sure she has enough room to lay, put the queen excluder in between, and have 2 supers of honey, hopefully. Which these numbers are great so far. I do want to make sure she's not on here. So there should be some good nectar in here, hopefully. We're gonna go through here because I don't know if the queen is up here or not. And I'm trying to make sure I'm not in y'all's way while we're looking. I'll turn it a little bit like that and tilt y'all up a little bit. And I'll try to show y'all as we go. So I'm gonna start over here at this corner. Now they are drawing out some beautiful wax. And this wax is just, it's new, it's white, and just gorgeous. And you can see that is full of nectar. They're already capping some on the top side. So this is gonna be great. You know, they're drawing on this side, nectar. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and go through all the way. I'm gonna set this down here. Give myself some room in here to work, to look, see how they're doing. And it's just beautiful nectar. So this is a great super. And this is without a queen excluder. Like I said, some people use them, some people don't. And this is a good example of you don't have to use them. But then again, right when I said that, there's nothing but cells with eggs in them. So the queen is up here. So, there's the queen right there as we speak. She's walking right here. See if y'all can see her. She's right here laying eggs. So I'm gonna go ahead and catch her. I'm gonna bring this frame with me and get my queen catcher because I don't have it with me. Well, excuse me for crossing y'all. I wasn't ready for that. The queen was on top, which makes it easier for us because now we got to go through the whole colony. I want to try to find her again. She's right here. She likes to hide at the edge. And I want y'all to see her. She's right here. I'm just going to temporarily put her in a queen catcher, a little queen cage. If she will quit staying at the center or the edge of the frame where the wood is. Let her crawl in here. And I caught her in here. She's in here with a couple of worker bees. So they will take care of her. She can't get out. And I'm gonna lay her on the side for right now. She'll be fine. And what I could do is, if I had another box, I'm gonna separate any brood frames, put them at the bottom, and then I'm gonna put all the nectar frames on top to kind of balance this whole hive out. So this is gonna be a good video for everybody, or for me at least. Just to help ensure she has enough room to lay. All the brood's gonna be at the bottom. I'm gonna take this whole box off and we're gonna go through all of these boxes from the top to the bottom. Actually from the bottom to the top. Our queen's up here. So 3, 6, 7, 8, 9. This is a honey super, it looks like. I just need to spread them out better. because they're building a lot of bird comb. I'm gonna set this on its side, and we're gonna start from the bottom, make sure she has enough room, and go from there. So I'm gonna check the camera, make sure y'all can see what I'm looking at. Oh yeah. So I'm gonna go through these frames, make sure she has room to lay down here. We're gonna isolate her, and then go through the other two brood chambers, or deep boxes, supers, is what I want them to be. So they're drawing out. This is nothing but pollen. I'll leave that at the bottom. Now I don't want it to be pollen bound either. Like I said, I want room for her to lay in here. Pollen, but also empty cells. So this would be a good frame for her to lay in. We just gotta force it down in here. So I'm actually gonna set this to the side to give her some room. I did add a few frames in here the other day for them to build on. As you can see, pollen / empty cells. So if I force her down here, she has room. She just wanted to come up. Bees naturally want to come up, so looking for queen cells or queen cups. And knocking them out. They're not in swarm mode. They have plenty of room. And like I said, I added a few frames down here last week, or a few days ago. And they are drawing it out, bringing pollen, a little bit of nectar, which I'd rather them bring the nectar up, but they may not know where to bring it up to, so. Bunch of pollen. I need to get rid of some of these pollen frames, but also brood, so. I may have to go to one of these splits or another hive that has some more frames. This is a good frame for them. They're drawing it out that I just gave her. So she'll be able to lay in here. But I do need to get rid of some of these pollen frames. Only downside is I don't have any spare ones right now. Like that. That's almost full of pollen. And brood on this side. So once those brood hatch, she'll be able to lay in there again. And this one they haven't even started to draw out, but there's plenty of wax on there. On either side. So another one of pollen. So I'm going to take a couple of these pollen frames out, and I'm going to do something. I'm going to bring the pollen up, since I do want her to have room to lay, which this side has a lot of room for her to lay, so I'm going to go ahead and leave this there with them. Just trying to manage it the best as possible. She's got plenty of room to lay here. There's some nectar they can bring up. So she's got room to lay, room to build. I want another big pollen frame out of here. This one has a lot of pollen and brood, which they'll be able to. I'm gonna take this one out. So what I'm gonna do now, where she's laying, there's a few frames that has nothing but eggs that I showed y'all. For instance, this one right here, nothing but eggs. I'm gonna go ahead and bring that down here. Bring the nurse bees down here. Those will hatch soon. This one has all kinds of brood. So I'm gonna go ahead and bring that down here as well. That frame that they haven't drawn out yet. And this is a great frame to give them. It's got plenty of room for her to lay. So we're just trying to manage this. We're gonna try to put the bottom brood chamber to be the best place for her to be to lay. So if I see another frame that I could use down there, I'm gonna take it. Which all this is just brood now. Which what we'll do is brood and nectar. So I think we'll call that good right there. So now I've given her plenty of room to lay. I took out some of the frames that were full of pollen or one that wasn't drawn out yet. I gave her a few frames that had room for her to lay, or that had some eggs or a lot of capped brood that's going to hatch soon, which will give her some more room to lay as well. And then I'm going to put her down in here, watch her crawl down, and put the queen excluder on top. So I have all the bees on here. I'm going to make sure she crawls down. Release her down here. I want to see her crawl. She crawled down. I saw her do that. Then I'm quickly going to put the queen excluder on. Alright, and that's going to prevent her from coming up and forcing her down here. And I will now put this box back on, which is heavy. Like I said, this is full of nectar, which is great, golden. This is full of capped brood, which once they hatch, they'll be able to backfill it with nectar. So I went through every frame at the bottom already. She has enough room now. All this will be backfilled. So, like I've heard before, I have some people that say they're beekeepers, but they hardly go in their hives, or they don't really manage it. They kind of let them do whatever they want. And I've heard the term, some people are beekeepers and some people are beehavers. An important thing is managing your colonies. Look at that. Great brood pattern. She's laying awesome. Everything else that's open either has an egg in it or nectar or some pollen. So once all these are hatched, not hatched, but once they actually come out, they will backfill all this with nectar. And then I'll have a bunch of pollen here, which this is full of nectar right here. Look at that. That's already capped on that side. That's all honey. This is going to be honey. So what I'm going to do temporarily, these older combs with pollen and everything like that, I'm just going to set them in here. It is what it is, kind of. So, set these girls here. For some reason that's sticking up. I don't want to see why. There we go. I don't remember how many frames were in here, if it was 9 or 10, because I was trying to do 10 to where, well, I do 10 for them to start drawing out the wax, and once the wax is starting to be drawn out, and make it 9 so they could actually expand the wax further, which means more honeycomb. But since all this has drawn out wax except for one frame, I may just do like I said and just do 9. I'll have to count it here in a second. Which these girls haven't been too mean today. These two are my 2 mean colonies, and they've been pretty nice. We've got the flow going. It's a beautiful day today. So I've got 3, 6, 9, 10. I do have 10 actual frames in here. They are drawing honey out pretty well. I'm sorry, I'm drawing out wax pretty well. So now they have an excluder. Keeps the queen at the bottom. Start filling with this top. Let's see what this box is all about, since I haven't gone through it yet. Now I do only have 9 frames in here, and they are building up some bird comb, which I don't really like, but I'm gonna see if y'all could see in here. I may lift y'all up just a tad here. Since we're up here now, it was nice to find the queen at the very top box, so we were able to isolate her quick and just get down to business. There is some brood in here, but then again, there is a lot of nectar too, so. nectar. Nectar already capping in the middle. Drawn out comb full of nectar. Nectar on this side as well. This is some fat honeycomb, which is what I wanted. And it's heavy. And they've got it capping on this side. This used to be brood, it looks like. Yep, there's a little bit of brood in there. And that's just pretty. So eventually these top 2 boxes will be full of capped honey. These are looking pretty. Drawing that out. I probably should have gave that to the queen at the bottom. That's beautiful. Same thing with the next frame. But she's got eggs and larvae in here already. And brood. So we're gonna call this good. Just gonna look at this a little bit better. Space them to how I think they should be. Space that a little bit better right there. Give them to draw that out some. So that was what I did, is adding a queen excluder to a 3-deep hive to try to get the honey all on top and isolate her down at the bottom. So there's a good little video there. Hopefully you can see what I did, removing frames that were either pollen bound or not drawn out from the bottom, give her enough room to lay, and brought everything else up.